Hello. Hello, everybody. It is I, Tom, here at Kaijutopia, streaming again in what seems like a long time. It's been like several months or something. I don't know. So, yeah. I know, everyone's super excited, right? It's good to be back. It's the beginning of a new year. By beginning, I know it's January 18th. You know, it's still relatively a new year. You know, 2025. A lot of things could happen. I mean, obviously, a lot of cool kaiju-related things could happen. I mean, I'm kind of wondering about this new Takashi Yamazaki Godzilla movie. Is it going to be a Godzilla Minus One sequel? Yeah, most likely. But even if it's not, that's fine too, right? Yeah. I know. This might not be this isn't like a Kaiju News Roundup stream, but, you know, don't be surprised if, you know, we go off course, you know, and just talk about whatever. So, of course, if you happen to be listening live and you have any question or anything, just feel free to, you know, shoot me a comment at any time. You know, it doesn't matter if it's like, again, today we're going to be talking about this little short stop motion movie I just made called Legendary Godzilla versus Godzilla Minus One. But you know what? If you're like, hey, Tom, let's talk about something else for a second, or I have a question, then I say go right ahead. Just as it says right here on my coffee mug, I mean, that's kind of the point, right? John Reeves, good to see you again, my friend. How you been? Oh, in case anyone's wondering, like, Tom, you're I love your mane, but like, why is it draped over to one side of your body? I mean, is this a new look you're going for? Yeah, so a couple days ago, I had an excision done. Basically, for the past couple months, there was this lump on my neck. I mean, it's been there for years, but it was always small, and I kind of forgot about it. I thought it was like an ingrown hair or maybe something else. But you know what? It got bigger. So that worried me, so I went in. The doctor, they all did an ultrasound, couldn't figure out what it was. I mean, they think it might be a cyst, but you know, they don't know. So, you know, we got it removed, but you know, right now it yeah, see, this is why I have my hair over here, because, you know, it kind of looks like I have a big massive vampire bite. You know, Nosferatu came for me during the night. So yeah, I should know, like, within the next couple days or sometime in the next week, like, what exactly it was. Not really expecting anything serious, but, you know, as a precaution, I wanted to get that gone, you know. Been busy, but aren't we all? Ah, man. Yep. All right, so, you know, I don't really have like a, you know, usually if I want to do a stream, I have like a big script somewhere, or like, hey, talk about these things. But you know what? We're winging it, eyeballing it. Let's go. So, recently, I released this stop-motion movie where it pitted Legendary Godzilla up against Godzilla Minus One. And, you know, when it comes to making these projects, I try to approach it in a number of ways. First and foremost, I always want to prioritize a good story. I know it's a kaiju rock'em sock'em movie, right? Usually that's you know, that's a nice descriptor of my little short movies. But like, I still try to add like personality to the monsters. I try to, you know, dignify them. I want to, you know, depict them in an accurate way. But I also, you know, I try to be still honest, right? I don't want to give them powers they don't have, or like in Minus One Godzilla's case, I mean, there's a massive size difference here. I don't want to like make it so that Minus One Godzilla has to be like 120 meters tall, you know, so he could see Legendary eye to eye. I always try to, that I want things to be like maybe not fair, but I don't want to like change these characters just so that I can, tell a story or do something in a way that I want. Like maybe I want -1 Godzilla to win, so I want like to boost up his stats or something. Nah, I want things to be accurate. And of course, when it comes to accuracy, you guys know me. I'm all about like power ranking, power level. Like I want, I've done research and videos into this sort of. Look at me saying I've done research into like, what a monster's power level is. Their powers, their abilities, their feats, and all that. But those are still things that I take, into consideration as a filmmaker, which is a rarity because filmmakers, they don't give a shit about power levels, right? I mean, they don't care. They you could, if you were to ever ask, I don't know, director Adam Wingard, like, hey Adam, like I notice you made it so that Evolved Godzilla is supposed to be more powerful than ever, but everything he didn't seem to be more impressive than him drilling a hole into the center of the earth and, into Hollow Earth, which, according to Kingdom Kong, exists in a different reality. So, I'm not convinced. I needed a better feat than that. Like, I needed Evolved Godzilla to literally, like, I don't know, cause a supernova and destroy the entire monsterverse. And, Adam Wingard at that point would probably be thinking like, get me out of here. Holy moly. Filmmakers, storytellers really shouldn't care about power levels. And if they do, it should be secondary as far as priorities go. But hey, it's me. I take this, seriously. As I always say, it's okay to take these seriously. Just don't take them personally. So, oh yeah, John here goes, not easy to give -1 a personality. Monsterverse Goji definitely has more personality. This is true, and -1 Godzilla, the thing is kind of like the embodiment of like, the Grim Reaper, the like death incarnate, right? He's also in a lot of pain. He's a true savage, like a true force of nature and destruction. Monsterverse Godzilla, though, definitely has a bit more, like, he's got a sense of, right and wrong. He's regal. He may not seem like he cares, but he's got empathy. He does care about the planet and the human race, maybe in a, he sees us as his pet kind of way, but yeah. But anyway, like, it was kind of like, going into this, I wanted to make sure, like, okay, I gotta be honest, I wasn't gonna make this a very serious, like, who would really win kind of showdown. It was, in the end, I just, when I storyboarded this, like, nearly a year ago, I'm just kind of like, legendary stomps, like, literally, he could lift up his foot and stomp poor -1 into the ground, and that's all Mothra wrote. That's it. Show's over, right? And still, a part of me would also be like, hey, you know what? You might want to make this, I know it's going to be a short movie, but, it should be longer, maybe a few minutes at least, and not like 20 seconds or 40 seconds. So originally this was going to be a lot shorter, but, now it's, I don't know, 2 minutes, 30 seconds or so. So, hey, not bad. But then, it went from being kind of serious. I always want to make sure each kaiju get like a moment to shine. And sure enough, like, despite everything, despite being one of the smallest Godzillas, -1 Goji, like, physically is both one of the weakest, but also the most dangerous. Obviously, his atomic breath is just, his heat ray, his heat beam, is way more powerful than mostly every other Godzilla, at least live action, movie wise. Warning, may start talking about Godzilla indeed. To those of you who are just listening, that's what it says on my coffee mug. So But yeah, I still wanted to make sure like Minus One wasn't a complete pushover, but you know, it in my heart of hearts, and honestly, like just like I didn't have to like change anything. I didn't have to give legendary powers and abilities he doesn't have. Like the dude tanks nukes. He's gonna get supercharged. Like Minus One is gonna like juice him up. He's gonna energize him, give him a huge boost, and that's with his most powerful attack. That's like his one play. And yeah, I mean I'm sorry guys, I mean Minus One has two things going for him: his atomic beam, his heat beam, sorry Toho, but also his regeneration, which, while imperfect in the sense that it's not gonna like perfectly heal his injuries, I mean he's got scars, right? And you wanna know how he got these scars? He's still like he could still come back. I mean his whole head got blown off, like half his face and mouth got blown off, and he healed, right? That's something, you know, yeah, I don't think most Godzillas could do in seconds at the very least. He's definitely prideful, as shown when he faced Kong. Yeah, Legendary Godzilla is prideful, and that's also something that I really like about him. I mean, I really do like that that aspect about his personality, and honestly, it's earned. I mean, he is the king of the monsters. You know, he's been around for millions of years. He's basically going around the globe, just you know, asserting his dominance. The guy, yeah, he's definitely earned it, right? John Reeves says Minus One's atomic breath isn't nearly as powerful as ones like Godzilla Earth, Legendary, or Heisei. They have much higher power scalings, but you can argue that Minus One's atomic breath has better destructive capabilities. Well, yeah, I do think Godzilla Earth has a more powerful atomic breath. I mean, high-end feats here. I mean, Earth, like, negated, canceled out singularities, right? So that puts it on like orders of magnitude greater. And of course Legendary drilled a hole into the center of the earth, and even if we took away Legendary's best feat, I mean he still like was performing some pretty impressive stuff. I'd say generally Minus One's atomic breath is more powerful than what we see Legendary, you know, unleash on average. You know, as far as averages go, Minus One Godzilla's atomic breath is more devastating, more powerful overall. But, you know, the whole point is not to Legendary himself. Legendary just sees it, again, as a power-up. And Heisei, nah, I don't think Heisei's atomic breath is more powerful than Minus One's. I think Minus One's, by a long shot. There's a reason why I think as far as live-action Godzillas go, it ranks generally in the top spot, but falls maybe short of Legendary's best feat. But anyway, feel free to respond back to that, John, and I'll read what you have to say, and you know, we'll have some fun, right? Anyway, what I was hoping to do, not sure when exactly, I thought it would be really fun to talk about, okay, since I took both a kind of a serious approach but also a comical approach, wouldn't it be funny if like how exactly could Minus One Godzilla win? And I didn't come up with this until after this movie was done and ready to go, but I thought it would be really fun because I think it's more interesting, really. I mean, to think about, okay, how could the underdog, the underdog win a fight, as opposed to like giving it, you know, just no matter how good of a story I think I'm writing here, like I think everybody knew this was overkill anyway, so how could we have done this a little differently? And this is still more on the hypothetical side of things. I personally don't think like there's no proof right now that this would actually happen unless we get a Godzilla Minus One sequel. And I think I still kind of question whether or not this is what would happen, but here's what I would do in order to. This is the best I could think of on how I think -1 Godzilla can win this fight. And it's not like, oh, we downgrade Legendary to his 2014 form where he was arguably weaker and maybe not quite. I think it's a safe bet that most would agree that Legendary Godzilla right now is far more powerful, I mean, than he was than when he first appeared back in 2014. He's clearly, come a long way. I mean, almost, I believe every single MonsterVerse installment has made him stronger than he was before anyway. So yeah, I gotta say, I kind of feel like, I feel like even 2014 Godzilla would win this pretty handedly, to be honest. But how would -1 Godzilla win? So I see John just wrote some messages, so I'm going to read that, and then here's my pitch that may or may not be a sequel to this. Who knows? I really shouldn't make promises like that, because eventually I'm going to talk about upcoming projects for some, that I think some of you might be excited for. But okay, so John says, well, Heisei has multiple variants of his atomic breath, but he controls his energy output. But he has his red spiral breath and his infinite spiral breath. While in burning form, they are more powerful. I mean, up to that last point, yeah, I would agree. But just demonstrably speaking, they never come anywhere near to the blatant destructive power, the capability, which I think you admitted, like, as far as destructive capacity goes, like -1, his atomic breath takes the cake. I mean, side by side, we could just, like, play clips. Here's Heisei Godzilla firing his most powerful spiral blast, and you'll notice the city is still there. The city that he's in is still there. Whereas when -1 fires, there's now a burning giant massive smoldering crater, and it's like literally like an atomic bomb just went off. But here, I'll read what you just had. You had a second comment here. Especially given that he was able to damage Space Godzilla and Destroya, who are easily more powerful monsters than -1 can ever manage, just by scaling alone. I mean, I absolutely agree that Space Godzilla and Destroya are far more powerful than -1, but I don't think, like, the issue isn't, the disagreement isn't like, could Space Godzilla and Destroya or Heisei Godzilla injure -1. All three of those monsters would not only injure -1, they would unalive him. They would end him. I mean, -1 like reacted rather poorly to conventional weapons, to battleships striking him. They seemed to even stun him. Space Godzilla's Corona Beam is going to tear him like to shreds. So the disagreement isn't whether or not Heisei Godzilla couldn't hurt -1 with his attacks. He absolutely could. I'm just saying -1 Godzilla's heat ray is far more impressive than even Heisei Godzilla's best beam. Just going with the movies, when we get into the manga from the Heisei series, things are a little, I mean, that's where you have a better argument. IMO. Geez, there was something else I wanted to say, but then I started forgetting. So, yeah, feel free, John, respond back, whatever. Yeah, and I'll read it. So, let's get into the fun part. How could -1 possibly prevail? And it's a doozy, and again, I didn't come up with this until after this project was over. Should I, like, I have the movie actually here. Hang on, I'm gonna change something real quick. Oh, hey, there's my chat. All right, so far I think I turned off the volume and everything, but we're just gonna have something playing as I'm like I'm chatting. Maybe that's gonna be a lot better and whatever. So just a sec. I'm gonna make sure this loops. Maybe later we can actually watch the movie together and have a good time here. But anyway, I should have done this from the start. Sorry to everybody who may have been getting tired of just seeing my pretty face the whole time, but yeah. I'm gonna stop a couple times because I'm just enjoying the show, just like the rest of you. It's just beautiful, man. It's just beautiful. So anyway, oh wait, John, you said when I said DC destructive capacity and attack potency are two different things. That was my point, but I'm glad you understand. Oh, okay. Hey, thanks for specifying. I mean, I agree with that. Come to think of it, it's actually kind of the reason why I typically I'm not a fan of a certain wiki. Their entire tiering system to me is just kind of like, okay, I have issues here, especially the sort of fixation on attack potencies and such. But yeah, I get your point. -1 would have to be amped by a lot of radiation, not just size, as size has hardly mattered to Godzilla in the past, given how physically strong he is. I mean, yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think size might matter only if like you're you know, like if we're talking like Godzilla Earth plus, I mean, but you know, as soon as I say Godzilla Earth, I'm like, okay, he's 300 meters tall, but at the same time, he's only like barely like 1,000 tons heavier than Legendary, which is crazy to think about. So yeah, well, good point. Now let's talk about how could -1 win this. So -1 can win this fight by essentially getting absolutely wrecked, like just straight up hammered time and time again. I think what happens here is I think Legendary just flat out will repeatedly shred the poor Godzilla over and over again until the point that Godzilla has to regenerate over and over again. I know I'm sounding like a broken record here, but and I'm not going in the direction of like, oh, Tom's gonna like go down the DC Comics Doomsday route, like where -1 will evolve to the point where he can, you know, no longer be wounded by whatever hurt him before. That's all cool. If that ends up being the case, then great. But I gotta be real with you guys. That's not where I'm going with this. I think what's more accurately, what would actually happen here is -1 would get so clobbered, eventually he would be ripped to shreds, and then those little chunks will regenerate into a bunch of other Godzilla -1s. Now, rinse, repeat. Legendary rolls his eyes and continue. Now he has just an army of angry midget Godzillas, and he just has to put them down. And he does until they regenerate into more -1 Godzillas. Here is where I think -1 Godzilla, as you know, as a legion, can win this fight. If several of them manage to score a direct hit with their heat rays. A few or consecutive shots still likely would make Legendary Godzilla more powerful. And by the way, we're gonna exclude Evolved Godzilla here for a second because we know he can contain like 20 times more energy. Since in the movie I didn't use Evolved Godzilla, it's just Legendary Godzilla before his evolve power up. Yeah, just getting that out of the way. I think several shots, consecutive hits from -one's heat beam would be sufficient in being too much even for Legendary. The bad news for the -1 army is this could very well end up triggering a burning event. Like Legendary could go into burning mode, and at that point nobody really wins. I don't think anyone has a prayer at that point until, I don't know, burning like melts down, and then, well, maybe that's good enough. And maybe the resulting radiation, you know, further mutates the -1 Goji army even further. Yeah, I'm out of ideas at that point. that's all I got. Okay, John, you said, yeah, he is lighter than Super Mechagodzilla and Biolante's weight. Shocking as Godzilla Earth is solid and near mountain size. Toho doesn't seem to understand size and weight ratios. I mean, I don't think any of them really do, and by them I mean the studios. Like, don't get me started on poor Gamera. I mean, the Gamera kaiju are like, you know, they're like eye level with Godzilla monsters, but the Godzilla kaiju are like 20 times greater mass. And then the Pacific Rim kaiju too. I mean, this is why, unless it's a technicality or I'm just trying to explain why a certain character's feat is great, like let's say, why do I think Heisei Mechagodzilla's plasma grenade is a powerful weapon? Well, because it can blast Heisei Godzilla's 60,000 metric ton atomic butt all over the place. So, you know, that's a pretty impressive weapon. That's a powerful feat. You know, that's a tremendous amount of force, right? But like, if we get to the point where it's like, hey, we're debating Godzilla versus Gamera, and people want to be like, well, technically, Godzilla wins because he just flicks Gamera to the moon or splatters him because Gamera doesn't weigh a whole lot. He's like the equivalent to a balloon or something. I'm gonna roll my eyes because, again, and I must reiterate this, the filmmakers, in the event that Godzilla versus Gamera becomes a reality, and even if in universe or maybe as a press release neither character have equalized stats, that's not what's going to happen. The filmmakers not only don't care about power levels, they don't care about stats either. I know that sounds a little weird, but like, we grant this all the time too. Like, whenever we see Godzilla standing, like he's in the middle of the ocean, but he seems to be standing up. How is that possible? You know, oh, he must under the water. You know, just picture him quickly, rapidly, like kicking his feet back and forth just to stay afloat, right? No, like, he didn't magically grow thousands of meters. Or like, why is it that Legendary's only like, he's supposed to be 120 meters tall, right? But then there he is towering above the Golden Gate Bridge, and, you know, while standing in the water. Like, did he grow bigger in that one sense? Like, no. I mean, these things happen all the time, and there's a time and a place to take stats seriously, but not as a gotcha. I don't think it's a good way to, you know, try and like go for the coup de grace. You know, your argument should be based primarily on which side has superior feats, you know, that are empirically based. And sure, maybe there's something in the narrative, like a hypothetical claim here or whatever, that can maybe better assist your argument. But that's really what in the end it should be about. It shouldn't be about like, well, my character is like 50 times bigger than yours, so therefore they win. I mean, that, sure, if we're talking street level characters, I mean, if we're talking like Buffy versus, I don't know, the Jurassic Park T-Rex, maybe. But we're talking about kaiju. We're talking about characters that, like John mentioned earlier, like major size differences don't really matter too much to Godzilla. Unless, like a more extreme example would be like, oh man, Godzilla versus Unicron. Or Ego the Living Planet. Suddenly size is a variable, and then we can, talk about that. Savage Gold Miner, welcome, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. Filmmakers and writers either don't care about power scaling or just don't realize how strong they make their characters. It's evident with DC and Marvel authors, but with Toho, it's about the same. Absolutely agree, but then again, I don't think they really should necessarily care, in the same way we care. They have a job to do, they have a story to tell. And, it's kind of like, talking about this with people who are not interested in this sort of thing, which I'm sure, show of hands, who's tried it? It's not really that, like, it's not a priority. It's not, nearly that important. It's fun, and yeah, like I say, take it seriously. I have videos dedicated to me being serious about this thing. But it really is not something I would, as a filmmaker, not even I prioritize. I mean, just right here, just watch, right here. A lot of this, it's just for fun. It's entertainment. I also love Mothra being in this and her performance. I hope you all found it funny. But I do still try to take it seriously. I still try to, like, as far as power levels go, I'm not trying to, like, again, I could have made -1 way more powerful here. I could have, like, made Legendary Godzilla job. That's the reality, though, of this situation. Like, the writers decide. The writer is the one who's right. I mean, we could debate all day about feats, but as we have been doing since time immemorial, like, when a new movie comes out or a new series, or it's a new writer and they're gonna have the characters maybe do something different. Maybe they're weaker than before, or as we've seen, Legendary has gotten more powerful. He's gotten stronger, or maybe like he's always been able to do that. The cool part is I'm the writer of this project, so I was able to, do whatever I wanted. I'm living proof of what I'm saying. Not that there's any real disagreement here. It sounds like we're all kind of like in agreement. I mean, John, you said you're right. It's story writing. It's a whole different thing than versus debating. It can get out of hand when you're with the wrong crowd. Oh, tell me about it, man. And that's like a universal truth right there. And again, it's so important not to take these things personally, but people do it all the time. I mean, we're human beings. Unfortunately, we get so hung up over some really silly things, right? So of course we're gonna get hung up over who's a more powerful monster, who'd win in a fight. I mean, I just posted a poll about, ultimately who'd win, Godzilla or Cthulhu, and I've been really enjoying reading the comments by you guys about that. But like, that's arguably like a harder matchup to really explore, because Godzilla and Cthulhu, they're not only paragons of their respective genres, but like they both represent an entirely different method when it comes to, power ranking, power scaling, when it comes to really figuring out who do we think would win this. Because, like, on one hand, Godzilla is empirically based. Like, you have thousands of feats you could, like, cite, especially if we're just thinking composite Godzilla, or no one in particular. We're just gonna throw anything out. Whereas Cthulhu is way more like, it's more about the narrative. It's less about Cthulhu and more about like just the fact that he comes from the Lovecraft, like the Cthulhu mythos. Like these beings are supposed to be eternal, beyond our comprehension. So anyway, major credit, of course, to all the Cthulhu fans who showed up, and despite Godzilla winning in the polls or whatever, Cthulhu fans were more vocal about, you know, their about Squidward here than the Godzilla fans were. So it was a very brave thing to come onto a Godzilla-centered YouTube channel to vote against Godzilla. I'm sure the Cthulhu fans are also Godzilla fans. I love you guys. I really love the fact that, you know, this community is, you know, I want it to be a safe place where you feel like, hey, you could share your perspective and not, you know, receive terrible backlash. Unless, of course, you're saying something that's highly volatile, then, well, screw you, you have it coming. But, like, I gotta hand it to you guys, Cthulhu fans. I mean, unlike Cthulhu, you guys were at least able to show up and actually do something, right? Whereas Cthulhu is still, like, kind of like, oh, he may or may not be like, you know, I don't know, what is it that some people were saying? Hyperversal or outerversal or something. Like, again, these tiering labels, just, I automatically just don't care about them. I find them pointless. Because when your character, like their potency, their level isn't based on empirical feats per se, but more like what they could do. You know, when it comes to show and tell, it's better to show than tell. But I'm still researching it. I'm still going to go into it, you know, hopefully with an open mind. I mean, there are a ton of characters that I think that could absolutely demolish Godzilla. Like Goku, Superman, like these guys, Saitama, you know, all these characters I think could just completely, like, take down, you know, if you take these characters at their most powerful, or even some of them at their weakest, they could one-shot most Godzillas, if not all of them. Are you familiar with Godzilla Daikaiju Battle Royale? They added Godzilla 84 to the game and his Cybot design and his iconic moments from the film. No, I'm not really familiar with it. I think, well, maybe I heard about this or read about it years ago, but it's been a while. I can't say that I know much about it, but I'm happy to see Godzilla 84 receiving so much needed love. Definitely one of the most underrated Godzillas and designs and such out there. Strength, Courage, Wisdom Productions, welcome. Good to see you. Let me know if you guys want to just listen to the audio of this. Otherwise, I'm going to keep this looping because I kind of feel like it's more interesting again than just looking at me, right? Oh, just needed to take a breath there. I feel like I haven't really stopped to take a deep breath yet. If anybody was interested in knowing how certain scenes were done, I can maybe do a quick little walkthrough. This is, I wasn't planning on, you know, going full VFX breakdown yet. But like, seriously, just like, let me know if any of you are interested, and if so, like what scene, and then maybe, you know, we can get to it. That would be cool. I'm trying to keep my head right here on the camera because I move a bit. It could hurt my neck. Yeah, and also there's the cat box right there, so you know. Shazam, it's been a while. Good to see you, man. Super Robot War Godzilla is pretty strong as well, considering he can take out the anti-spiral. Okay. Look, there are some Godzillas that I don't know. I don't know, guys. There's just some things like where man, I kind of lost my train of thought because again, I'm thinking like, okay, on one hand, I love the fact that we could just say Godzilla has a good shot. Maybe he could take them on, or he would win because I'm more of a Godzilla fan, so I'm a little biased. On the other, I'm just kind of like, guys, it's just, But I would rather, me personally, refresh my memory and watch them at their best, and then, you know, come back to like. I'm currently in the throes. I'm in that like swamp where I'm like trying to research more about Cthulhu and stuff because, okay, so. I'm planning on doing a breakdown video of the Godzilla Cthulhu comic book crossover that sadly did not receive you know, an official release in a way that it's available to many people. It was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, which is stupid. I don't know why they would do this, but like, man. I'm gonna try and do my best and just do a complete breakdown of the whole story. It's a good comic. It's a nice little standalone. So, but you know, I feel so bad for those of you who might like try and get a physical copy, because like they're what like $150 now on eBay or something. It's ridiculous. But then I'm also planning on doing another video about kind of like who do I think would be the ultimate winner, who would come out on top, and that's going to be split up into different like sections. You know, I'm going to have this is who I think would win when it's this specific Godzilla, and the terms are we're actually going down the empirical feat rabbit hole. You know, we just want empirical feats only. And then another one where I'm like, okay, let's say you know, these claims about Cthulhu are true. So, and we make it, you know, we accept them. How does he compare against maybe Godzilla Earth? And it might culminate in like, okay, anything goes, empirical, and whatever is a hypothetical claim or whatever it might be hyperbolic. Who takes it? And that's where, you know, I might be like, well, according to Godzilla's singular point. I'm pausing for dramatic effect because I know some of you in the chat know exactly where I'm going with this, and I just want to like it's all in good fun, right? But like Shazam said, Godzilla power scaling is tough sometimes. John says Godzilla in Hell easily solos. I mean, he killed the god of the IDW Godzilla multiverse, and I don't see Goku, Superman, or Saitama beating that, and considering Superman already lost to Godzilla. Man, some of my best friends are, you know, obviously bigger Superman fans than they are Godzilla fans, but I've been having fun just reminding them, not all the time, you know, you want to actually like don't abuse this, don't overuse it, don't spam it like Heisei Godzilla spams his beams. But I do love just every now and then you know, just bring up how Godzilla just mopped the floor with Superman, and it's so gratifying. Now I say this, you know, being a huge massive Superman fan, so you know, I'm having all the fun, you know. Bring this camera down a bit because for some reason my computer chair likes to sink. Oh yeah, that comic was insane, but I loved it. Watch Cthulhu getting beaten and forced to stay in a state of endless torture was like serious punishment for facing Godzilla. Indeed, man, indeed. Yeah, so God, I gotta stop itching this, man. Again, to those of you who missed, I had an excision, like a little surgery done on my neck, so I'm like trying not to be an idiot and try and scratch at it or anything. How does he compare with Fortnite Godzilla? I don't really play Fortnite, so I have no idea. And also, I feel like video games, you know, anything video game related, it's a bit different mechanics, right? I mean, that's a different sort of method. There's a different methodology there that it's what, dependent on the player, right? Like the skill of the player, and that's an X factor that I cannot account for. Even with my brilliance, I cannot, or just don't feel like it, man. But anyway, I love Superman 2. He is my favorite superhero of all time. Just hate how people overhype him. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like one of the biggest bummers about Superman. Isn't really Superman. It's like generally how he might be depicted or talked about, because fans, we kind of ruin everything. I'm not going to deny it. But at the same time, like, I think the same applies to, Godzilla too. I mean, we overhype the hell out of him. I mean, if anyone here wants Godzilla to win every battle, I mean, it's going to be me, because, Godzilla, yeah, woo! Godzilla's the best. He wins. He can't be beaten, or whatever. He's like the Michael Jordan of kaiju. Ball. I don't know. I gotta sleep now. I really hope to catch your streams again. Stay safe, everyone. Remember, we'll be getting new Toho Godzilla news sometime soon. Stay hyped. Thank you so much, Shazam. Have a good night, my friend. I maybe might stream more again. I mean, I've said this so many times, and then like other things came up. So whether or not I do end up streaming more, sorry, again, computer chair keeps going down. Whether or not I stream again, well, time will tell. But if I do, hope to see you there. If not, I hope you're safe. Oh, man. But here's the thing. All right. So the whole Godzilla Cthulhu talk, there is an end game to it. I'm not just doing this to I'm not doing this just to pit like a Godzilla tribe against the Cthulhu tribe. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm doing, really, in the long run, I'm going to do a Godzilla vs. Cthulhu stop motion movie. I might even get to start production on it, maybe around spring or summer of this year. I do have an amazing, really cool, articulate Cthulhu action figure. It's actually scary to look at. It's also dangerous for me to, use right now because, well, last time I was playing around with it, well, he hurt me. He got me good a couple times. But like, I'm really excited about it because I really want that to it's gonna be out of this world. And like I said before, when it came to the making of Legendary Godzilla versus Godzilla Minus One, I do care about what each character is capable of. I not only want to tell a good story, I do care about, their power level. And, I don't want to, take anything away from them. But in this case, I'm going to have a lot of creative freedom with Cthulhu. I'm going to do a lot of cool stuff. And I think many of you are going to love it. It's going to be a lot of fun. But we have several other projects to get to. For starters, okay, so are you guys cool if I talk about some upcoming projects? let's see. Joshua, my friend, good to see you. I've said this before and I'll say it again. We don't know how -1 Goji would fight because we've never seen him fight another monster, making this battle indeterminable. I mean, that opinion is, I think, valid. I mean, that I wouldn't really, like, hard disagree. I mean, if anything, technically, a lot of this is hypothetical. I mean, I would say the same thing about, like, Shin Godzilla. Discounting his appearances with Evangelion, of course. But I do think you can still make a pretty good, solid case if there's enough screen time and you get a pretty good feel for, like, in this case, -1 Godzilla's attitude, how he reacts, like him thrashing around buildings just because he seems to be royally pissed off. I think it is a good indicator of how he would react. But here's a strong clue, though. I think we know how -1 Goji would react, or how he would fight Legendary Godzilla. Or maybe not how, but we know for a fact he would absolutely want to fight Legendary Godzilla. He's highly territorial. When they, in Godzilla -1, they tried to lure him, right? They were trying to bring him out into the water. They used a recording of his own iconic roar, and that pissed him off. Man, that scene. I think you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like, I think we definitely need more Godzilla -1 movies. We need to see this this specific Godzilla variant again. There are some interesting fan theories about how, like, you know, where did those scars when he was a Godzillasaurus, where did that come from? That's a very cool concept to explore. Did he get that from another member of his species? I mean, am I right? Is he highly territorial? Is he super hyper aggressive even against members of his own kind? Or is there something else out there that might prove to be, well, a burden, to put it mildly? John Reeves says, what are your thoughts on Godzilla 1984, the film? I rewatched it, and to this day, still one of the best. It's well, the English version with Raymond Burr was the first Godzilla movie I ever saw. So, you know, that movie, that version, you know, holds a special place in my heart. But the Japanese version, the 1984 film itself, I think it's better than ever. I think it's, even to this day, it's extremely relevant and has had such a massive influence. I mean, one doesn't just, I would say it's highly influential. It influenced Godzilla 2014, Shin Godzilla, even Godzilla -1. I mean, you could really see some really strong parallels, especially to the Cold War element, to the existential nuclear doom. I don't want to, like, be an alarmist and just make everybody suddenly have a really bad day, but, like, nuclear weapons pose an immense threat. They are still very much a scary thing. Godzilla, and by extension, Godzilla 1984, is as relevant as ever, just based on that fact alone. That, and I love the aesthetics, the filmmaking techniques. I mean, it really has that 1980s vibe style to it that I just love. Yeah, it's one of my personal favorites. I love this movie. Hell, man, I might go and watch it when the stream ends, just because it's a lot of fun. I'm still holding off on showing it to my son. I mean, he's turning 5 next month, but yeah, it might be a little much for him. Even though I saw this movie, I believe, when I was even younger, but hey, the jury's still out on whether that was a good idea. Oh, Joshua, if you're still here, hope you are. Hope you're doing well too, man. I think you started. You've been writing for KWC on Toho Kingdom, right? Just want to check in, see how you're doing. Also, feel free to like respond back. I mean, I know I responded to what you said before, and obviously I feel free to disagree. Feel free to like respond back. I promise, like if there's anything we agree or disagree with, I just want everybody to know I will absolutely give you, the floor. I'll read what you had to say. I can even, I just want things to be, fair, and I don't want people to think like, oh man, Tom, why are you like abusing the fact that like you're the only voice that could be heard right now. So no, by all means, like just realize like I want everyone to have a good time here. So let me know what you think. Let me adjust this chat because the comments are not all showing up. There we go. It's a little off though. Oh geez. Hang on. Editing mode activated. Clearly I didn't prep enough for this earlier. Whew. Okay. John said regarding Godzilla 84, it was my first two, but I prefer the Japanese version more as well. I prefer Japanese versions of franchises that come from Japan. Yeah, I'm with you on that one too. I agree. I agree. At this age, it might be too scary for him. Regarding my son, it was meant to be a darker film. Absolutely, it's for more mature audiences. With that being this case, you never know. I might. I might go for it, but he's more into watching dinosaurs right now anyway, so it's hard to say. Godzilla, dinosaurs, really good gateway there. Jury's still out on sometimes he still likes watching like he loves watching Godzilla, Kong, The New Empire. Godzilla vs. Kong, it's one of his favorite movies, but obviously I think while those movies are, I'd say geared more towards mainstream audiences, different demographics, Godzilla 84 definitely has a more like, this might actually be scary, man. It's definitely that scene in that whole sequence in the very beginning where, all those people mysteriously die out at sea, and it's it's pretty gruesome, man. It's not really something that I would advise for young people to see anytime soon. Let me just adjust something here. I mean, you're the parent, your choice. My parents let me watch Predator at 6 years old. Good times. But see, by admitting that I'm the parent, now I really have to take more responsibility, and I kind of want to like have an alibi or a way. I kid, but oh man. I'm just adjusting my stuff here, just going back and forth. Gosh, I'm so picky when it comes to like placements and everything that it's even worse when I'm editing, doing the VFX. I'm so like freaking like super attention to detail. It needs to be the best. I need this attention to detail, and like I gotten better about it because I used to like fixate so much on things that the vast majority of people watching are completely unaware of or would never notice. I even remember like, hey, like, here, hey, do you guys notice this or that? That's pretty cool, right? And like, no one noticed. Stop. It's not what you think. Oh man, but that's fine. I'm trying to look at something real quick. Maybe I should just do that. We interrupt this stream as Tom tries to just, you know, get his stuff in order. There. All right, I should stop messing with everything every 2 seconds. Oh man. Alright, I'm still messing with stuff. I can't help it. I have a condition. Oh man. Here, let's take a break from Legendary for a second. Oh wait. I'm gonna mute that. Okay. I'm gonna have Godzilla Apocalypse Now play for a second as cool background. Oh, it's been a while since I saw this movie. I don't know. Sorry guys. If you, hey, John, you seem to be the only one watching. If you really want me to keep playing Legendary Godzilla vs. Godzilla Minus One over and over again, cool beans, we can do that. But I thought, hey, maybe a little nice change. If you're watching this, you know, maybe not live, but in the future, let me know what you think and what you might much rather watch as well. But yeah, man, I'm pumped. So as far as upcoming projects go, let's see here. So I am currently in the process of getting ready to do Gamera 4 Herald of Mothra, which has been in development for years at this point. And the storyboards are done. I'm gonna start doing the stop motion stuff here soon enough. There's this other project, however, that I started several months back called Godzilla Monster Island Brawl. Basically having the Showa Godzilla, the Showa Goji, and his kaiju friends go up against the Ultraman Tiga villain Goza. It was supposed to be a lot shorter than it is currently. I got carried away and started doing more, which increased the load, and then I realized, you know what, in order to keep to my timetable, you know, I have a lot of projects scheduled now so that I don't fall behind. I had to postpone it. I had to put it in, it's currently on hiatus. Now, I feel bad saying this, but it will likely remain on hiatus for a lot longer than I would like. I have so much that I want to do for that project that it has the potential to be like my best stop motion video, the best project yet. But in the meantime, I'm thinking of maybe taking what I have for it now and making a little tiny short movie. You know, basically in it at the very beginning, we see Baragon and Anguirus have a little friendly fight. So I think that could be a lot of fun to share. And you know, if you watch it and you're like, I really like this, I think you should go back and prioritize this. I'd love to see it. Feel free to share that, and you know, might just do that. But for now, Gamera 4 is on deck, or what? Baseball terminology, sorry. It's coming up to bat. What's on deck would be, we talked about, it's funny how we talked about Superman earlier. John, you might think this is awesome, or maybe cringe, but yeah, Godzilla vs. Superman stop motion. I hope to start working on this year. It's gonna be a doozy, man. I think you'll like it. It's got a lot of things coming that I think, I don't want to spoil anything, so I won't say much, but it's gonna be one hell of a fight. That's for sure. And yeah, so I talked about Godzilla vs. Cthulhu as well. That's another one that I really want to get started on sometime this year. We will see if that actually comes to pass or not. But yeah. Oh, I forgot to do something here. Hang on. All right, there we go. But yeah, as far as upcoming projects go, there's so much more. I mean, not just stop motion, but I have a video dropping tomorrow that goes over a certain really awesome Godzilla Rivals comic involving Godzilla's greatest rivals, King Ghidorah fighting Space Godzilla. It's a really awesome comic, and I hope everyone gets a chance to watch it. Holy moly. Alright, guys. I don't think I have anything more that I wanted to talk about. Here. Before we close, let's watch... Let's let Godzilla Apocalypse Now finish, and then we're going to watch Legendary Godzilla vs. Godzilla Minus One together. Let me know if you can hear this or not. I honestly don't. I can't hear it, but if you can hear it, that's all that matters. If not, then cool. We can just watch it. I really still love how this movie turned out. It was so much fun to make. I know it's like a combination. Who do I think would seriously win? But also, I hope it's entertaining. I hope people thought it was funny. Sorry, I see some VFX errors that I hope nobody notices. Oh yeah, so John, a new, it's not necessarily new, it's part of that Godzilla Rivals series from IDW Comics. It's no longer, I think it's their final Godzilla Rivals issue. But yeah, it's awesome. It looks great. I mean, I'm gonna go into more detail in my video tomorrow, but like, I really love the art style. It's vicious, it's brutal. Both Ghidorah and Space Godzilla are done right. I love how they're depicted. I love how their powers work. I mean, kind of like in the same way that I like to do my movies, where I hope I intend to have every kaiju have a chance to shine. They all do something great. Like if I'm doing a movie with Space Godzilla and Destroya, I'm gonna have Destroya use his laser born. I'm gonna have Space Godzilla use his gravity tornado. If it's Mecha Godzilla, plasma grenade. Everybody gets a chance to use their signature attacks, right? And I just realized, just having the audio on all this time, I don't know if the movie was playing or not with its audio, but it might have been extremely distracting to have to listen to me and and the movie. So sorry in advance about that. Hopefully that did not cause much discomfort. Oh man, don't itch. Yeah. Oh boy. All right. All you amazing, wonderful people that are likely now watching this from the future. If you made it this far, please know that you're amazing. I enjoy what I do because I know that it's entertaining for you. And that's what I'm here for. Like, your imagination, it's my destination. I want to make your day better. I want to actually continue to give you really, I'm just thankful that you guys like what I do. Like, it's not every day that you find out that, like, hey man, a lot of people really enjoy your art, what you like to do, and I got the best subscribers. You guys are all amazing. Thank you. As long as you keep showing up, I'm gonna keep at it. I'm gonna keep doing what I enjoy. I hope everyone else here has a good rest of your day, a good weekend, and yeah, I wanna stream more, and if it means just listening to me yap about whatever while some movie's playing here in the background, then cool. We'll do it. We'll do it again. Take care, man. Keep up the good work. John, thank you so much for being here and keeping me company. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good rest of your day. And everybody else, keep stomping. Don't stop stomping, right? Keep at it. You totally are like Godzilla, more than you realize. Or something inspirational. Oh man, I gotta lay off too much coffee. But anyway, love you all. Take good care.